Before we get started today, I want to say thank you for every single like, comment, recommendation, and a very special thank you to my listener support group. If you like what we do here at Off the Deep End Podcast, please consider checking out the listener support tab on our channel's anchor link. Without you, we would not be able to continue the great work we're doing with these conversations, breaking down boundaries and helping heal each other by sharing our stories, our trials, our tribulations, and how we process them. Let's jump straight into this episode.
Are you thinking about making a podcast? Spotify has a platform that lets you make one, and if I can figure it out, you definitely can too. You can create your own content all in one place for free with zero hangups and even earn money as soon as you get started. Spotify lets you record and edit episodes from your phone or computer so you can go mobile, just like I enjoy to do. My favorite thing about it is that you can create video episodes if you wish and upload them to wherever podcasts are heard. You can even set up subscriptions or, if you're like me, listener support options for listeners to help you grow. I 10 out of 10 recommend the Spotify for Podcasters app. Or, why don't you just step over to www.spotify.com/podcasters to get started on your own podcast. What's happening, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of Off the Deep End Podcast. As always, I am your host, Eddie, and I cannot wait to reconvene with this outstanding human being from the United States Navy's best warship that has ever graced the ocean with its presence. CVN-71 USS Theodore Roosevelt, the best deployment crew ever, 2012 to 2016. Those were some pretty amazing human beings, but 2015 deployment crew was the absolute tip of the spear at the time. And I'm so thankful for meeting my brother PJ, who is here to join us today around that time frame. So thank you so much for joining us, my brother.
Of course, of course.
Excellent, man. Well, I already know that we're going to jump right into this conversation. We're going to be shedding light on some things that are not spoken about often. And it's going to provide definitely a very interesting and important perspective about things that should be brought up and things that should be addressed, things that should be dealt with. And I really do want to make sure that we do this a service. And if anybody listens before I dive in, I want to put out a general disclaimer. It is not spoken enough about the stress and ordeals that single fathers or fathers in a situation, a complicated relationship, go through when children are involved. And this will be talking about that today. So without further ado, let's go ahead and drop right in. So it's no secret in your last episode, we talked about fathering children. We talked about your experience in the military. We talked about how important family and love and friendship. And I'm able to see these things that you value throughout your interaction, not just on social media from across the nation, but also you've always been a very, very bright individual with a lot of kindness on your heart. Why don't you tell me what has been, weighing on your shoulders a little bit lately, man?
Appreciate that, by the way. What's been weighing on my shoulders a lot recently has definitely been the ongoing shared custody battle I'm going through right now, as far as getting the rights to my child, because in the state of Ohio, you do not have any rights to your child. So you sign a birth certificate and it's just stating that you are a father, but you don't have any rights at all. So part of the custody is like, I had this kid and I love him to death and I want my rights to him. Like I won't say over things. Um, I refuse to be part of the statistic.
Man, I can't even imagine in words how definitely difficult that is, at tearing at your heartstrings every single day. When you create a child with somebody, it's not meant to be a battle or I'm just speaking on my personal experience with my family. I don't want to be used as a child as a chess piece or to feel fought over. I want to feel fought for, maybe 100%. But it's really hard to imagine a human being wanting to have turmoil between their partner in a creation of a child. And maybe that's just my old school way of thinking, or maybe I'm in la la land with my relationship or whatever, but I know the stress that weighs on children because I was a child in a family where there was a broken family going on. And I love what you said there. I don't want to be a part of statistic, absent father. That's a real thing. That's a very, very common in life, especially in our community. One of the most difficult things that I've experienced is what Nino described as absent parent syndrome, APS. So the effects of not having a parent there because of this, that, and the third. When you have a parent that's willing and wanting to be in a child's life and help guide them, help nurture them when you create it, it's important to appreciate the fact that that parent even wants to step up at all, because how many deadbeat dads are there out there? How many deadbeat moms? I've too many to count, man. It should not take a village to have just to have two people in the scenario of helping raise a child. It shouldn't need that. We should have two plus their community and the friends that they have. And that's tough, man.
100%. Like I recently took, like, therapy, going through this to make sure I was like on the up and up. And then that's when I discovered that I was a victim of, manipulation. This is before the child was born. These are like red flags, which after therapy I decided to not call things small details. I decided to call them seeds, because
Mm,
if you ignore certain seeds and you put this, oh, it's okay, a little okay soil on top of them, those seeds, they keep growing and growing and growing. If you don't check up on them for a long period of time, they root, and then next thing you know, you can't do anything about it anymore at that point.
man, there's definitely some serious truth to that. I think often about the what the term self-respect means, or self-love as well. Those things are usually pretty similar or tied into each other often when they're being described. But I look at self-love as self-discipline. I could take the path of the easy path with least resistance and just be selfish, or I can look out for my team. I can, be horrible about how I take care of my health, or I can be serious about living here a long time. I can half-ass my job and risk someone else having to come back and do rework later, or I can do the right thing in the first place. That's like a self-discipline thing. But self-love, taking days off when you know you're feeling overworked and you know you can't focus and you're going to do a harmful or potentially dangerous job, stuff like that. Self, you know, we often say, "Oh, it's okay," or "It's fine." The worst thing is that human beings are "it's okay" and "it's finding" themselves into an early grave, or finding themselves in a situation where they can't escape, or even worse, they sacrifice continuously a little piece of themselves every time they say that. That's the worst aspect of the saying "I'm okay" or "I'm fine."
100%. I remember, like, like I remember, like, recently I had to make sure I took care of myself, like having those days, like we discussed earlier, like taking today and just, doing a self-care, like just really, like, no, today is my day. I had worked like 7 days straight plus school. So I was like, just turned in like a 3-page essay on a Sunday, getting off at 8 o'clock at night. So I'm sitting there like, no, today is the day I just take to myself. Today's the day I sleep in late, go to the gym, handle anything that I want to do today, and just, just sit down and just relax, like, and don't care about the world for right now. Just, me time.
I love that. I love that. Me time is huge. I practice things to make sure that I'm not, too much of an asshole at the end of the day to my wife or to my friends or people that I care about. I find myself getting in major funks the more I work. If I work super long weeks, for instance, I don't think I've had a day off in maybe since the start of the month. I've been working pretty much every single day, and with long hours and sporadic time frames and all sorts of stuff. One of my practices of to make sure that I'm checking the box for me, for myself, is making sure it's simple stuff like making sure I ate. My wife is always calling me, "Honey, you make sure you eat out there. Don't starve yourself. Don't get wrapped up whatever you're doing or whatever." But I have to remind myself of other things as well. Am I taking a deep breath before I get frustrated? Am I doing my deep breathing exercises when I'm already pissed the fuck off? Am I caring about other people around me? Do I still, when I think about someone in my mind, someone who had an impact on me throughout my day and my week or whatever, if I'm thinking about my mom or whatever, or my sister, am I grabbing the phone and pressing dial and talking to them? Small things that make sure that I'm, a okay, cool, calm, and collected, an even keel. per se. I think that when we do that, it's not just making sure we're good, but it's making sure we can be good for others around us that are relying on us.
100%. I think my mother used to always tell me, like, if you can't live for yourself, live for the people around you. So it's like
Wow.
not just you, like anytime you have those thoughts, whatever like that, you just gotta think about the people that you affect, like as you go. So like it's when you have like I said, I'm a victim of having those moments, and I just really think like how selfish, and it's just from me, my perspective. Like I'm not judging anybody who does it, but on my end, how selfish I am to neglect the care and the love that people show me, and to not honor that for them. So it's and like I said, going back to it, like I'm not saying people decisions are wrong when they do their thing, but like just for me personally, like in my life, I feel like I owe the people around me a debt, and I have to keep fighting and showing them that their love means something.
Wow. There's so much beauty to what you just said there. If you can't live for yourself, live for the people around you. That is huge. Your mother was overwhelmingly wise. That is, I think that might be one of the most important things I've ever heard in my life, my entire life, bar none. Like that is it right there.
Her and my father used to hit me with some gems. My father, on the other hand, he was a man of little words. Like I tell him like a whole spill, like 3 paragraph of my stress, and he just tell me hang in there. Like I don't know if he listened. Like it probably wasn't until like years later, like after he died, that I realized like what hanging there mean. It's just like just lean into it. Just hanging there for one more second. Like you don't know what's going to happen a minute from now, 5 minutes from there. Just stay in there. Like and like growing up, like I understand it now. But when I was a kid in that moment, he'd tell me something like that. I'm like, did you listen to anything I just said? Like, but now, like it's like it really standing there now. Like as I'm older now.
Mhm. So how are you hanging in there with this situation going on right now? I mean, it's no secret that you want to be a present father. You want to be to make sure that you're in this child's life. You created life and you want to be a part of it. I think that should be one. It shouldn't have to be, but it should be celebrated. You being wanting to be a present father, and it should be appreciated as well. There's a lot of people who grew up without fathers, who are actively seeking to be present in their parents' life or in their child's life.
So with me, I had to really find my strength because the mother like after taking therapy, I realized like how much emotional damage that she had done to me, and like how much manipulation, gaslighting, even spiritual toxicity
Mm,
were done. Um, and the scary part is I don't think it was like known to her as well. Um, it was like more like a defensive thing. So I had after so much time away, like we haven't talked in like a year mostly. Like it's been small conversations, but like I cut that. Uh, I decided to set up boundaries because after you realize what the manipulation is going on, like you don't want to have these conversations. You just keep it real short and cordial. But like especially after this new event, that's when I really started diving deep into manipulation and gaslighting and spiritual toxicity, and realize my own toxicity as well. Because for me, it's more so when did the victim become the cause at the same time, and that's probably like a real hard thing for a lot of people to take in. Like, what did you do to create the monster? Without without saying you're completely innocent in the whole situation.
mm. So let's walk into that a little bit more, man, because me personally, I don't go to therapy. It's one of my, it's one of my, this gonna might sound a little crazy, but it's one of my healthy boundaries. I find I gain knowledge, experience, and solace from peer-to-peer support. So I personally can benefit so much more from listening to somebody else's experience or listening to somebody else give me some feedback about something that I'm personally going through versus going to see a clinical psychologist or a therapist. It's just doesn't, you know, there's different forms of therapeutics of how we heal. There's different forms of finding out how to, you know, kind of go through and deal with shit in general. And that's just how I personally do it. But can you walk me through understanding our own spiritual toxicity and someone else's?
All right, so spiritual toxicity, it kind of follows the same line as regular manipulation. But except a lot of the new spiritual healing, they try to, it's a lot of words that's being thrown at you consistently. Like when I was going through this, I noticed that words like worthiness was used a lot, and they would say it over and over again. They say worthiness, worthiness. Like are you worthy? Know your worth. Know your worth. So when somebody keep telling you that in your mind, you think to yourself, "Am I worthy? Am I worthy enough to be with this person? How do I prove myself worthy to this person?" Um, but then like I had some good advice, and I or my good advice and just what books that I've read, that worthiness is something that's shown.
Mm,
You don't tell nobody that they're worthy. You don't show nobody that they're worthy. It's a presence that you give off. To have somebody tell you that they're worthy, it makes you double think yourself. It's like a sales technique. Like me working in sales, when somebody tell you like, oh, this is the last time we probably gonna have this offer or something like that, it sends your mind into this thought process, like maybe I'm not, maybe I need to get this and everything. And it's like it's definitely a type of manipulation. It's kind of like it's planting a seed that shouldn't be there. It's like a kid. I would never ask a kid what if you could change anything about yourself, what would it be? I would never ask a kid that, because why am I planting a seed in some kid that something wrong with them? You know, it's things like that that a lot of people don't notice. Those little things, them small seeds that you plant in them, they grow.
mm, I see. Okay. And I think it does take time to learn to fully understand. And do you think there's actually an end to being self-aware, not self-conscious, but being self-aware of how we act as a human being, right? So, for instance, as a man, as a man in my relationship, I find myself often asking myself, did I say something too abrasively? Am I talking with love to to person who I love? Am like simple checks like that? Like, am I doing something positive to affect my relationship, or am I negatively affecting it? These are things I normally ask myself, and when I feel like those answers are no, you're sucking for the day, you're really horrible today, you gotta fix that shit. I tend to try. Um, is that kind of what you've been doing with your journey as well, or how do you go about the self assessment? For is it from day to day, week to week? What do you do?
I've been lucky with like it's always gonna be day to day, because you know they got a book of list of telling you how to communicate, but communicating is going, it changes like every 5 seconds, like depending on like who you're dealing with. The one thing that I have learned is if somebody expresses to me like something that I did or something that hurt them, I will always thank them, because telling somebody that, oh, having somebody express themselves to you is very hard. Like, it's so hard to express how you feel. So like because I was very passive, and that was my toxicity during that time. I was very passive. I wouldn't speak up, and I know how hard that is to say, "Hey, what you said earlier really offended me," or "What you said this time." Now I say I'm not gonna be perfect. Like this haven't happened to me yet, but I'm not perfect in the future. If you say something that I very disagree with, to to be like, "Oh, my bad." Like if in my mind, if you're wrong, you're wrong. But moving forward, I definitely always thank somebody like, well, I appreciate you for expressing how you felt. And I just take a moment to myself and like really, really think like, all right, maybe I could have, like you said, maybe I could have went a little better with this. Maybe I could have said this. But definitely I love to acknowledge somebody for like really being 100% with me, or like expressing something, because I know how hard it is to really express yourself. Like I never want to be that person that like, oh, I can't tell him this because I know he gonna go off, or he gonna like, it's I want you to know that like if we friends, or we're like good close friends and we have this connection, yeah, you can tell me. Like forget my feelings. Like if you gotta express something, go ahead and let me know.
I really do admire that, man. I think that it's so essential for us as human beings to have this light that emits from us. We need to have to understand our darkness and to understand where does it start? Where does the frustrated, pissed off Eddie start, and where does it end? It usually starts with something from my past, and it usually ends with something for my future, because I don't want to carry that negative past of mine into my future endeavors or my future relationships, my future friendships. And I've been looking at my friend group, and I've been looking at them really carefully. I've been looking at the people who've been in my life over the past all 29 years. Like, I turn 30 next month. It's kind of scary to think that I'm about to have like my half life met here. Thank God my hairline isn't receding yet or anything like that shit. God damn. People always used to joke on me for not getting haircuts as often, but I heard a rumor in a barbershop that the more times you get your hairline pushed back in a barbershop, the faster it recedes. So you know what? I stayed out of that bitch. I was scrubbing for life. But all jokes aside, I really do ask myself, who is it? Who are these people? Who are these people in my life? Do they have good intentions? Are they good role models for my future children? How are they affecting me right now? Is this something I want to carry into the future? And I don't want to say I cut them out, but I let them go. I stop putting in effort in places where these people are going to harm my future children's mindset going into life. These are weak examples of human beings who aren't working on themselves and constantly say, "Oh, I have this problem with me. I have that problem with me." I always want to surround myself with people who are forthcoming about their faults, understanding that they are flawed as human beings, which is completely okay and completely normal too, but working on them. Don't just say you got this going on. Oh, like oh no, I feel like I'm overweight, or I feel like I'm underweight, and I know I have money to drink all the time, or I know I have money to spend money on fast food or whatever, but I don't work towards my goals of changing my physique. That's one thing. But also, I know that I'm hurting people with my actions, and I'm not going to stop because I don't care. That's one thing I try to separate myself from, because self-awareness is a form of self-love to me. Being aware when I fuck up is important, and I think it's important for everybody else as well.
Oh yeah, 100%. Like on my journey, like I realized that your circle is like very important. And it wasn't until like maybe recently that I realized stuff like my sister, my rock, and my friends. Like I would say things like and I never got it. Like when I was in that manipulative mind and I was like real trapped, I say like things that was said about me, and I never understood why my sister or my friends would get so angry. Like
Mm.
I didn't get it. Why y'all so upset? Why y'all so jumped on my side? And not and it's because they're on the outside and they know who I am. But I let this person kind of trap me into this mind state that I forgot who I was.
Mm.
So I don't have to convince them that I was right or wrong in this situation because they already know me. So as soon as I say this was said, I understand why they were so mad because they know who I am. And it's like I neglected that circle that knew me. And I let somebody, pretty much violate that circle, like let somebody just like really twist my mind state instead of remembering who I am. And your
That's tough.
friends, your family, they're telling you who you are, but when you like stuck in this mind state, you have a hard time hearing them. And like to them, their anger and their chaos, you take it as something else, but in actuality, they know who you are and they're defending who you are, but you're not. So it's like you got to get yourself together.
Wow. There's a lot of things that can be said about that. I think it's very important for us as human beings to also recognize when someone's confronting us as an individual, or someone's saying, "Hey, you're treating yourself like shit," or "You aren't you respecting yourself enough in this relationship," or "You need to stand up for yourself. What's wrong with you?"
Mhm.
Like, you talked about it earlier. People pour love into you. You want to show them that back. The best way to show somebody else that you care about yourself and about them and a relationship is to let them not boost your ego necessarily, but build you up when you need that shit. Not everybody's up all the time. Not everybody's got you know, one of my favorite quotes is when the money is pouring and the jewels are shining, uh, and man, those moments, they can be so beautiful. and you feel like everything's going on. You're in the club, the drinks are being poured. You got the motherfuckers walk through with the sparkly bottles. I don't know. I don't know what they do in clubs. I don't go to clubs anymore. But they got everything going on. Life is good. You're celebrating. When you're celebrating something, who are you really behind that? Are you a person that your friends can say, hey, they listen, they respect what I say, they listen to what I say in a way that it helps build them up and also break them down when they should be broken down. If I hope and I pray that anybody who ever had a problem with me or stuff like that, or people that don't like what I'm doing, they reach out to me and they say, hey, you shouldn't do this and here's why, so that I can ask myself and not just not question myself, question my goals, but question how I'm approaching them. Maybe I'm approaching them in a way that's going to hurt somebody else. And that's the last thing I think any of us want to do.
Right. It's gonna take a while to get to that level and that understanding. And like it took me a while. Like it's like I was walking around mute from like not listening to my friends and family, and like when you think about stuff, you think about physical abuse. You don't really think about the emotional too much when somebody says something, but it starts so psychological, and and it's like once you break away from it, you really got to rewire your mind, and just the hardest part is forgiving yourself, not the person, but forgiving yourself for letting yourself fall that far. And that's what I'm working on as of right now, like really forgiving myself. Because sometimes I still think back and I'm like, why did I do that? Like, you know better than that. Like, why did you do this? And that's my journey itself, is just my own like forgiving myself. I
Wow.
like I think in a poem I wrote, I said that like every year there's a book of just more and more insults that get added to the dictionary, but the ones I hold for myself are the worst.
Mm. Wow. The ones I hold for myself are the worst. I think that you're absolutely right in that notion of what you expressed in that poem, that we are our harshest critics. We are absolutely way too hard on ourselves. We don't forgive ourselves enough. I think we hold on to guilt, and I've been very guilty of this. Uh, yeah, I really just said that. That was horrible English, but I'm definitely guilty of holding on to my guilt and feeling guilty about holding on to the guilt for being guilty originally. I definitely that's me. That is me incarnate. Um, when it come to missing family events or not being present in my wife's life while I was in the military, or her dealing with stuff back home when I was gone. It was I definitely have felt a lot of guilt, and I wish I could do a better job of making up for it. I try to show her. I hope she's probably gonna listen to this, but I hope that my actions show her, like when I work my 70, 80 hour whatever hour weeks, it's part of me making up for the stress. But I know that what she really wants is time. So I try to ask myself, am I doing the right thing? So some weeks I'll work really long hours. Other weekends I'll just shut out the whole world and we'll hang out. And I think that it's really important as human beings for us to recognize just presence is enough. And the presence of a father in a relationship, there it's so important for a child. So important to have their child present, or to have their father present for that kid. Like me looking back, I fucking wish my parents were there. I really wish it. What is what is some of the concerns that come with this situation that you're in currently, man?
Mainly his upbringing mostly. Right now the mother, she chooses not to work, and like right now she doesn't drive. So I always wonder, like, is it her not being capable, or is it the mind state? So I don't want my kid to like grow up like that. Like I grew up and my parents always went to work. If they didn't have a car, they found a way to take the bus. Like it was always so, no matter what bad things happen in my mind state, I'm always like, all right, let me move on to this, let me move on to that. And I don't think she has that structure.
Hmm.
And growing for him to grow up, I want him to to know that like there's always a alternative. This doesn't happen, you keep pushing into this one. This doesn't happen, you keep pushing to that one. Um, main thing that I want for him on my end is learning from the mistakes of my own father, which is my father was like a man's man. So he was like that. You know, my mother was a love. I come to my father, I was like, why the dish is not clean? He was that dude. So like it wasn't until I got older, but I'm like 13, 12, where he started showing like that love and everything. But I'm like, I'm this age now. But I forgive him when my sister kids was born, my nieces, and it felt like he learned from that. And the love that he showed them from being babies to kids was like something that I never seen before. And I don't know if he ever knew, but like just looking at him play with them as kids and everything was like a love letter to me as a kid. So like with my
Wow.
son, I take my time. Like I remember I learned every time I'm talking to, I kneel down to his level when I'm talking to him. I never neglect to give him a hug whenever I see him. Like so little things like that of things that I didn't experience as a kid. It was more like always man's man. It's like we gonna paint the house, we gonna like line more of the stuff, like, but never like, come here, let me see how you feeling. Let me give you a hug. You know what I'm saying? It was never stuff like that as I experienced. Like so it's definitely like looking at things like that. I'm more focused on the sins of the father, as far as like really like as far as like raising my own child. I um I try not to say I'm not gonna do that. I just try to see where that was coming from and try to learn from it and try to, you know, develop my own way.
Wow. That's very aware of you. As in so many ways, man. That's fucking amazing. I want to be honest. That's excuse my language, y'all. I swear a lot on on this podcast because
Hey, man.
so far I have, and I'm probably gonna swear some more. This is huge, man. You saying that I don't necessarily like. Can we just take a second to just applaud you for saying this was a love you felt like your father was writing a love letter to you by how he loved another human being. That is absolutely beautiful. Like that blows me away that you were able to recognize that. I'm so thankful that you found beauty in that moment, solace in that moment, and healing in that moment because it's important for dads and moms to break those normal gender roles of the nurturer and the discipliner or whatever, and kind of throw caution to the wind and hug your son. Like, damn, that's huge. I listened to somebody the other day uh say that their dad never said he was proud of him ever. And he's a super successful businessman, definitely a multimillionaire. Um, and and his dad died and never ever told him he was proud of him. And that he was drunk as hell when he told me. And I was like, man, there is nothing more important than you being proud of yourself. And that completely unraveled this human being in front of me. But um, because that self-realization of you, sometimes we have to be our own hero. And it shouldn't be this way, but we sometimes we do need to be the hero in our own story. Do you feel a sense of responsibility to make up for these things that you feel like were missing from your life as a child?
Oh, yes. But at the same time, no, because I had all those things. Like I just didn't know it. Like I remember my father's funeral. All these people came up to me like strangers and everything. They were like, "Oh, you PJ, right?" So I'm like, "Yeah, I'm PJ." He's like, "Man, your father talk about you all the time, like how proud he was of you. You in the military, right?" And like all these things that he didn't say to me. So it's like it was real like it hit the funeral hit harder just by over 100 people coming to me and my sister and him talking about us and how proud he was of us, like all the accomplishments that we did, all the things that we would talk to him about, and it seemed like he didn't hear us, but like he did, and he would just go home and he'd just tell like all his friends and all this stuff about us. So, like I said, learning again, I I moving forward, I make sure that I do tell the people close to me, like whatever you're doing, like I'm proud of you. Like I appreciate everything you're doing. Like my son definitely like everything he does. Like of course he you know he don't really understand too much the concept yet, but like I keep a cliff note of everything he does, like videos, like some of the accomplishments may do, because he do a lot of stuff that even as like a 2 to 3, he still like show me his strength that early, like his resiliency and the things that he can do. And I call my sister kids like my second kids, because they was like 10 when they was born. I like stayed with them the entire time, and I'm always proud of the things they do. So I try to tell them as much. I'm proud of what they do, and just let them know, or So it's definitely like it opened up a love for me, because I definitely show love, and I'm not embarrassed to do it. Like I know guys are mostly afraid, they got to be macho and tough, but I'm like not afraid to show that love and that compassion, or that that just tell people that I miss them. Like I appreciate them in my life and everything like that. But at the same time, I won't lie. If I don't miss you, I'm not gonna lie. Like, like yeah, I will not, say lie, like, because I want you to know that when I say those words, I absolutely mean it.
Mm.
Like and I try not to say me too a lot, because I love you and I miss you in my own way. I don't agree with the way that you miss me. I got my own love for you, and I got my own missing for you. So I try not to say too. I try to like really, like, I say it back. I love you, miss you, I miss you. Like, and so I try to like really try to take those words out of there. Um, but like I just got a real self gratitude for like just my life now and just the people around it.
Wow, that's amazing, man. That's absolutely amazing. Do you think that there's some amazing, like, existential correlation between how we look at our children and how we look at our parents? Do you see some similarities from your parents and your child?
Oh, it's beautiful. My son looks just like my mother. Like if I probably had to send you a picture of them two together, like side by side. But like he did this thing one day when he was a kid, and he like got mad at me. And he like frowned at me, and I seen my mother in his eyes. It was scary. Like he stared at me, and I just seen my mother. It's like she was looking at me like, "Don't talk to my aggressor," like that. It was like weird. It was like a weird look, and I remember I jumped back, and I was like I just seen my mother in it, and this his like when he get mad, I just see my mother the entire time. Like it is my father. I can see that he shows a sense of care. Nobody showed a lot of compassion like my father. My father could be very mean, but he'd help you out. Like I remember like my uncle one day, he told him not to drive this car, and it's like 3 in the morning. And he like, don't drive that car. He drove the car, of course, 3 in the morning, it hit. He yelling at him, but he about to get his car and drive like an hour and a half just to go pick him up. And then, like, of course, he wake me up in the middle of the night, like, come on, Jay, let's go. And I'm like, why do I gotta go? So it's just like his love definitely like transitioned over. And I see it in my sister too. Like she'll like take her sweater off and give it to somebody like in a heartbeat, and just like he would. And they weren't even the same, like they didn't have the same parents, so we got different dads, but like the love that just really transitioned through both of them. So
That's awesome, man. That's awesome, man. Well, I know you talked earlier about friends, right? There is somebody who you just recently went and visited, and I think it's a crazy, super small world where we have all these major run-ins with great people. So why don't you tell me a little bit about this recent trip you just took?
oh yeah, oh, you talking about good old Tiff. So it was funny. I don't remember how we started talking. I remember I was here around the ship, and I was friends with we was always mutual friends. And I was living in Jersey at the time, and it started off we hung out in Jersey, and that's what we took that picture that with the eye and everything. And it was just spontaneous from there, like hanging out. We was just like communicate over our art and stuff like that. Like she more on the music side, I'm more in the like I'm more the see it. I'm not the music person. So she's a big foundation on me figuring out who I am. I don't think I ever told her that. But like I think she was like after I had the big breakup, out of nowhere, she was like, "Hey, come to Oklahoma. Let's just hang out and everything like that." And I was like, why would I go to Oklahoma? You know what I'm saying? But but I went there, and it's gorgeous. It's a gorgeous state. Like I went there, and in a way I found myself. Like I went to the mountains, I met her beautiful family, and I found myself. I remember like I went back home and I was good. Like I remember like, all right, I'm about to it wasn't a full healing experience, but it was the journey that I needed to start that healing experience. And then from there, it just spontaneous stuff. Like we hung out in Chicago. It was funny because I forgot about Chicago. Like I had bought a ticket that she told me to buy like in November, and I'm in Ohio, so Chicago's not a bad. It's not like a long drive. It's only like 5 hours. So I literally, it's the morning of I'm knocked out sleep, and she texts me like, "Hey, you still going to that concert?" And I'm like, I wake up, oh snap, it was today. I'm like, "Hey Siri, how far is Chicago?" And Siri was like, "Approximately 5 hours." I'm like, "Yeah, I'll be there." So drove straight there. My niece actually goes to school there, so it was just like it always worked out. Like we all just hung out, had a good time, and we always trying to plan out like our next hangout. But like she grew to be like such a great good friend, and like it's always love there.
That's so exciting. I think there's a lot that can be said about the friendships that we find in life, and the amazing beauty in how people around us define who we are as human beings. You pull a little bit from this individual over here, and they help you remember who you are in a time where you don't feel like yourself. You pull a little bit over here from someone else when you feel like you don't have, a connection with your parents anymore, and you learn that that you are a part of your parents from somebody else. You reach out to another person and you realize, oh my God, I didn't know this about my dad or my mom, or I didn't know this about my brother or my sister who passed. I have so many similarities to them, and these are some of the things that I've experienced through my friends. My mom just called me last night telling me that my grandpa was in the Navy as well, and I had no idea or whatever. And also got a friend that reached out to me recently and was telling me how much of an impact I had on his life. And I made it through the phone call about 43, 45 minutes or whatever, hung up. I just bawled my eyes out. And I'm not ashamed to say it. I never thought that I would have such an impact on another human being in life. That is the most valuable currency in ever, is the effect we have on others. And there's so much we can do in life, whether it's, music or art or creating videos, photography, dancing, going to the gym and just having a community of people at the gym is huge. What are some of the things that you do to make sure that you're a-okay in the head when you're feeling overwhelmed and stressed out with this very serious situation with your child going on?
I had to, I had lost, I had lost a lot of focus when it hit me so hard, with everything that I had to, after after I seeked help, I decided to, all right, let me build a schedule. So I put myself on like a good schedule. So now, like I said, at first I didn't have a schedule. I just go to, I was trying to find time to go to the gym, then I find time to do my schoolwork. And I was like, you know what? Let me go back military real quick. Let me go back to like old school Navy. Let me, all right, this morning time going to the gym. Go to the gym. All right, you got this much time to shower. Now it's time to go to work. All right, now you done with work. It's time for you to go home. Time for you to do your schoolwork. And then it just became like a rinse and repeat. And then on your days you have off, you have one day for yourself and you have one day to prepare for the next day at work. So it's like I started to do that. And another thing I started to do was I don't let my mind do the talking for me anymore when I wake up. So I speak out loud. So I say out loud, I'm gonna have a good day today. I'm a I pray out loud. I say I deserve this. I say all these things because if I say it in my mind, I feel like my mind gonna say, "Are you sure?" But like when I speak out loud, it can't do it because I won't say that out loud. I'm gonna say I'm gonna have a good day and that's it. There's no room to travel. That sound has bounced off the walls, it bounced off the buildings, and and it's to me the world heard me say I'm gonna have a good day today. Like the sound waves travel everywhere. So I doing that has really like kind of changed my mind state about the day that happens.
Wow. Well, that's badass, man. I think I might take a leaf out of your book. I think I'm gonna start trying that. When I wake up at 4 a.m., I'm gonna look over at my wife who's asleep, and I would say, "I love you." No, no, I'm just playing. I'm just playing. Could you imagine?
Oh,
I'm gonna get slapped. Oh, not because she's violent, but man,
Uh,
don't freak me out coming out of a dead
yeah,
sleep. Don't freak me out. I don't wake up nice all the time, man.
word
So
more.
waking up every single day and putting out these vocal positive affirmations and demanding that life obeys you. You find that brings you a level of control, or would you say a level of putting things in perspective for you?
Mostly putting things in perspective. Because, like I said, the world has control over things. It's just, I'm just trying to, trying to tell the world that I deserve a bit piece of that goodness. So I'm yelling it out just so y'all know I'm here. And world, yeah, I want to have a good day today. So like whatever you throw at me, I just know that my sound waves bouncing off everywhere, telling you that I'm gonna have a good day. So that's kind of like how I look at it.
I love that, brother. I love that. What are some of the major differences you've seen since you have been going to therapy? Because I want to make it very clear, I'm not against therapy whatsoever. It doesn't work for me personally. Maybe I just haven't found the right therapist. What do you think that the benefits of going to therapy are that you've experienced personally?
So I'm kind of so it's maybe crazy to say, but I'm kind of in the same boat as you when it comes to it. I take what they give me. Like I don't think I'm all right. I've been in therapy for 4 years. I don't think I'm that person. I think I just need a boost, like on a new way to go about things. So maybe a professional knows something better than what I've been doing. So some of the things that I've pulled recently were the speak out louds. They were the understanding, forgiving yourself. They were the making yourself available to hear what people say, and expressing yourself. Just go out there and express yourself. And be confident enough to say how you feel, show love, like say when you hurt. Say like you said you cried, like why as the society of of men are we like afraid to say that we cried, like something hurt us or whatever like that. We and it's because certain times we from what I learned from therapy too, it's very hard for us as men to express ourselves
Mm,
because not our female counterparts most of the time they will shut us down. Um, and they don't even know they're doing it. Like we going through this real quick, and I just want to express to you. And they say, get over it. Everybody going through something. Like, and it's one thing I won't tell anybody anymore is that everybody going through something. I feel like everybody should be treated when you're going through something. Everybody should be treated as a case by case basis, and their concerns and their worries should be very important.
mm.
Like,
I can definitely say I can do a better job at that. Damn, that
because like you never feel like I think I said before in the old podcast, I lost my parents, and then you could lose yours, God forbid, and I handled it differently than you. But the last thing I'm gonna tell you is I lost my parents too. Like you take center focus right now. This just happened to you. Like, how are you feeling?
mm,
I feel like everybody should be treated at a case by case. So like it's been times where I express things, and because I'm a male, like it's kind of like it's been sidetracked because I'm supposed to be tougher than this and everything. And just going about it, I could have been upset about it, but now I realize like moving forward, I won't let this happen. If somebody expresses this to me, I won't let that happen to them. So I definitely, when somebody going through something, I definitely won't say, "Oh yeah, everybody go through that." I will take it like a case by case and like really be there for you whenever you need it. Like I'm not advice, just there to listen.
damn.
Unless I've been through that and I
And
know what
and
to
that's a
do.
good and that's a good thing to do as well. Uh, you know, the perspective you just shared is something that I definitely want to improve on in my life personally, and I know that I don't do a good job of that. You vocalizing that you actively seek to be better about it, and actively seek to understand what other people are going through because they're actively going through in that moment. Not everybody's as seasoned or as hardened as life normally makes us after years, especially when it comes to loss. There's never easy time to lose somebody. There's never easy time to go through a breakup. There's never easy time to have your child kept from you. Never easy time. Everybody's going through something, yes, but that doesn't mean we all deal with it the same or we're all doing okay at all because there's so many people who are not.
100%. Like it. that's something new to me. Like I still might slip up, but like it takes time, and I'm still like definitely learning. Like luckily nobody has come to me. Well, a lot of people come to me with it, but I haven't used it. But I'm really conscious about like whenever it brought up, to make sure I avoid saying like words like that because I don't want to uh like take away from your moment.
Mm, I see. So you need to let people feel their feelings in the moment and give them kind of space to feel things. I think that I think I could definitely get down with that. There's a lot of people who I've experienced in life, they haven't had a moment to process things, and it does significant damage. I know I've had a lot of significant damage done to me emotionally, and I'll be the first one to admit it. There's been a lot of things in my life where I haven't, been able to really figure out, seek closure, and they haunt me in my dreams, they haunt me in my sleep, they haunt me during the day, they haunt me when I hear a certain song or I smell something. You never know when the past is gonna show up when you don't have it dealt with. I think it's important for us, especially as men, to deal with our emotions. Oh, you feel upset? Deal with it. I don't cry when I'm sad anymore, I've realized, at all. When I'm sad, you will not catch me crying. You will catch me crying when I get happy because I'm so overwhelmed with excitement and appreciation and love. And that's something I'm super excited to be able to say that I don't cry when I'm sad anymore. When I'm sad, I just feel sad. But I have these huge highs because and excitement and good moments because I'm appreciating the experiences that I have. You sharing your light with me makes me want to be a person who emits more light to those around me. And I think that maybe, just maybe, the more conversations we have as men about our feelings, about our emotions, the better we can deal with this shit. There might be some science behind it. I don't know, right?
Gotta be someone.
There's got to be something, man. So I have to know. You are a veteran, correct? What are your absolute favorite things about the fact that you have served in the military, and how does it lead into you as a human being today?
Oh, that's like there's two stories because one side is Navy, one side is Guard.
I know.
Uh,
I know.
oh,
I got time for both.
hold on. What the heck? Oh crap. All right, so on the Navy side, I gathered the Navy gave me a lot of opportunities as far as like working on a regular job. The Navy granted me the best friends, like what I was saying about the friend, and when I told them about like what was going on with me, and they automatically had my back, is because people don't understand in the Navy, like these people uh sleep in the same room as you for 365 days. Like they know your mannerisms, they know who you are, and they know everything about you. They've been through your darkest days, your high days, your like any day that you had, chances are they was like right beside you on that day. So, and I forgot about that for a while. So like whenever he was automatically on my side, I forgot who I was. And I'm sitting there like, oh, maybe that was the person right. But like, no, this person knows you a lot better because they've been with you every 5 seconds. But it taught me, the Navy helped me work with anybody. Like I can work with the person from Texas with cowboy hat on and boots, and I'm from the city, so it's like, and I can still find a common ground with that person. Uh, and it was just a big thing. And then switching over with the Guard, the Air Force is like a whole different ball game. Like they're they do care, but it's more of a growth. They care about your growth a lot more. Like it's interesting to go into a branch and they're like, hey man, how college going? Or like, you trying to build this with your career? Like it's a crazy mind state. It's I feel like the Navy, don't get me wrong, like you'll find the right people to hang with and you'll have that positivity. But with my unit, with this Guard unit, whenever they want to hang out is a cool alternative. Like it's not about we going out drinking. It's like, let's try to do this. Let's try to do this activity, or I knew this thing about school that we can try to figure out, or is and the transition to that one is like I became the best of both worlds. like as far as like opportunities that I can present to people, and I don't like the military, like you said, being a veteran is just a beautiful thing because we experience things that nobody will ever in his lifetime ever experience, like that. Just that mind state that we have, like, is something different. Like our bluntness, our honesty, our language is just like we could talk to each other and you would think we're not friends. Like, and it's just like the outside, they just wouldn't understand it. Like, you sure y'all friends? Like, yeah, like we've been friends for like years. Like, it's certain things that people like just won't understand, especially with like this 2023 with the sensitivity and everything. Like,
Oh yeah.
it's it's just like they couldn't handle one day on the ship with us, just our conversations alone. Like, you can call somebody out their name like in
They're
one
gonna avoid it
hour.
like the Black Plague.
Uh-huh. They have a heart attack.
Oh yeah. Oh God, yes. Wow, man. Well, there's just one more question I really wanted to get so I can fully understand what you're going through, man, and obviously I want to offer any support I can possibly muster up for you as you go through this time. It's never easy to go through a turbulent time in life, but especially not when it comes to being wanting to be an active parent in a relationship and not being given that definite right. It's overwhelmingly important for a child to have both parents present if they want to do it, as long as they're not like doing horrible shit or whatever, right? So as long as they're not posing a potential threat to that child's future, why? Why not? Why keep them away? It's an egregious thing to do, and I disagree with it 100%. My question is this: if there was one thing you could say to your child 10 years from now when they listen to this, and they get an understanding of what you were going through this time, what would you say to your own child right now?
Oh, pretty simple. I hear a lot of like dads and everything. They talk about, she won't let me see my kid or blah blah blah. But like, you didn't go to the court system. You didn't establish this. You just went to build your Facebook or your Instagram post to get sensitivity on there. Whereas this mostly the first time I've ever been on anything talking about it. Like, I'll tell you what you do. You get up, you go to the courthouse, and you actually, put the paperwork in, and you send that letter off. So my message to my kid, even if nothing else works out, no, I tried. I went through the avenue, like I went to the courts. Um, like basically just I tried, and I feel like I did the resources that I was told to do. And at the end of the day, if nothing works out, I don't feel guilty at all. Because at the end of the day, she's a good mother. So I'm not gonna take that away from her. She's an excellent mother. I know he's gonna be loved. As far as like the lifestyle that he might get, I would prefer him to have a more motivational person in a life. But he will have love. So it's not like he, will be lacking that. But on my side, I just need to know that I tried. Like, if things go south and there's court paperwork showing that I tried to work things out and everything, like, just know I did everything an Ohio dad can do, to see you.
Wow. But there's a lot of beauty in that, man, and I really do admire who you are as a human being, and I wish there were more dads out there like you. Yeah, from a son who wished his dad would show up for every single day of his life for 18 years. I wish there was more dads like you in the world, man. Wow. Well, this is not supposed to be the episode where I get all emotional and cry. We're supposed to talk about life experiences and raising awareness and stuff. So I'm gonna not cry today because I told myself I wouldn't. I hope that the situation obviously gets resolved, but I hope more than anything, man, that you keep doing what you're doing to make sure that you check the boxes you need to so that you can keep in this fight for your son. Um, there's so much beauty that comes with the idea of a dad advocating for other dads out there. But there's so much more important things that you're doing right now. You're making sure that you're able to continue the fight for your child and checking all the boxes. So I want to say thank you for doing that, man. It's really important to me that you're doing this work, not just because it needs to be done, but your child needs its dad. Your son needs a father. And I know that you're a great human being. I've known you for quite a few years now, and even if it's from a distance, I can judge your character honestly, saying that you are a great human being and you have a lot of love to give, and all that you need is the opportunity to do it. So I hope that this situation gets
Appreciate
resolved, man.
that.
I really do hope this
You
situation
spoke
gets
about
resolved.
closure. I remember you spoke about closure, and that was something that I had a hard time dealing with. So it actually affected the relationship. I'll never forget it because when we broke up, there wasn't any closure there. I never understood why. And I was on this lifeline for like a year until like things worked out and we got back together, but I never healed from that unanswered closure. So like my message is definitely to say that sometimes you don't need closure.
Hmm.
Like what was not meant to be is not meant to be. Like you gotta find closure within yourself and just, you like, it didn't work out. Oh well, like you can only live in your world. You can't really live for somebody else's world and try to figure out why it didn't connect with yours. Like it's self closure. Like you just gotta like really accept what it is and not what it could be. And I wish I would have known that now compared to, you know, down the line.
Yeah, definitely. I don't think we should ever seek closure in areas where it's not looking inward first, at least. At the very, very bare minimum, we have to look inwards when it comes to closure or when it comes to who we are and what we want in life. Definitely, man. Well, I hope all this works out for you in the most positive way. I hope that honestly, man, I hope that she listens to this and she's able to maybe get some weird astronomical answer that you really need to be in this child's life, and that this is not a matter of, he said, she said, or a matter of, do we need to be in a relationship to have this child together? No. But this thing you two created, it deserves everything you can give it. And part of that is a present dad. And I'm definitely gonna leave it at that. I want to say thank you so much for taking the time to talk about this. It's never an easy thing to talk about when it comes to things we're going through currently. And I want to say thank you for gracing us with your honesty, your candorous moments where you told the truth about how you want to be different than your parents all the right ways, not the wrong ways. And when you talked about how much you love other human beings around you, I think that our last episode together, you kind of showed me who you were as a human being, and I don't think that you set the bar lower as my admiration for you goes. I think that you keep showing more and more of this great human being you are, and I wish we spent more time together when I was fucking deployed with you, man. You're a powerful soul, and I know that you're doing great things, but I know that you're going to do greater things in life when you're reunited with your son, and I wish you the ultimate possible luck. I'm gonna find some green shit and I'm gonna put some green shit in my wallet for good luck, and I'm just gonna keep it with me and think about you every time I see it or something. I don't know. I'm gonna figure something out. Sacrifice a
Appreciate
small goat.
it. I appreciate that. Like I really do. Like it I need like words like that to just, like just to remind myself of like what I'm doing and like who I am, and it's never warranted. So
Yeah. Well, I'm gonna make sure to reach out to you. I'm gonna start sending you some of the stuff that I listen to when I'm at my moments of tribulation in life, right? Because we have these huge trials that we're always aligned with, and the questions show up. Can I get through this? Am I worthy? Am I powerful enough? Why is this happening to me? Who turned on the rain when it's supposed to be a sunny day? All these questions do show up in our life in every situation. But one thing I do is I lean on others to inspire me, and you are definitely one of my inspirations. We have a similar military experience with loss, with pain, and how to overcome it to still be here today. Fitness is a part of what we both do, as a way to kind of be alive and feel whole for me personally, I feel whole when I lift weights, but more than anything, I wish that this situation really does get resolved quickly for you, and that you don't have to sit there in the limbo of the courts. It should not be up to the fucking government to help somebody who hasn't done anything horrible to be in their child's life. It just shouldn't. And I just wish it was different, man.
Me too.
Well, on that note, I appreciate you coming on today and telling me something that's weighing on your heart. Something hopefully the things that you said today can help another individual who's going through this. There's so many parents out there going through custody battles when all they want to do is be in the president's life. It might not be even about of whose name's on what paperwork. Paperwork doesn't define the importance of having a parental unit in life for a child, or even just who's in their life in general. Guidance is what the youth needs, and I don't think anybody should do anything to stop that, as long as it's in a safe, effective, and beneficial way for that child in the future at all. I appreciate you coming on and talking about this, man. More than just that as well, I appreciate you opening up and being honest about a situation you're personally going through right now, and I wish you some solace. And I hope that the man, it really fucking sucks that you have to deal with this shit. And I'm sorry.
Like I said, one more advice out, like people who definitely go through this is please be respectful to each other. Like
Mm,
this is about the kid. Um like me personally, I don't badmouth people, or I just speak my truth. So like the point thing is the kid, like you're not here to badmouth the dad or the mom or tell them they're a certain type of way. You just be honest as possible. Like take your feelings out of it. Like it's all about the child. And I think a lot of people are fighting for the kid, but they're fighting for the relationship when it really should just be about the kid. Like,
yes, I absolutely agree. I definitely seen a lot of it as well. Well, man, I appreciate you coming on today, and I thank you for your candor, and I thank you for shedding light on something that I definitely didn't expect to be so worked up over in an emotional way today. And I was sitting on the other side of this conversation, asking all the questions later, years down the road. To be completely honest, where was he at? Why wasn't he around? Lo and behold, there was a whole bunch of other drama going on, and then I have to get over the resentment of my parents for different things, and I have to learn to forgive them when I was hurting for. It's hard to forgive for over 18 years of lies and
100%.
confusion, and I didn't know who I was as an individual. So yeah, I'm definitely I definitely got hit in the jaw with this episode talking with you about this, man. I hope that anyone listening who's going through this situation can find a little piece of understanding, or a phrase that stuck out to them where they could use it to apply to their own situation they're going through. And I hope they resolve the whatever issues they're going through as well, without it having any more effect on the kids, because the kids are not just the future of our nation, but the kids need to know they're loved. And when you have a parent that's out of the picture unnecessarily, it can really do harm.
100%. I appreciate you for having me.
Yeah, brother. 100%, man. And I also appreciate every single listener. This has been another episode of Off the Beam Podcast. As always, I'm your host, Eddie. A little bit more emotional than usual today because of this topic. I didn't expect it to weigh this heavily on me. If you're someone who's going through this time, I beg you, I freaking beg you to think about the effect that it's going to have on the children in the future. And these are lasting effects that come in waves, like when you're in the middle of a podcast with somebody about something they're experiencing. You never know how it's going to affect your children in the long run. So I beg you to please put the kids first. And just like PJ is doing, never ever give up when you're fighting for to be a present parent in your child's life. Much love, y'all, and bye bye.